Have you ever wondered why so many people reach the end of their lives feeling empty, unsatisfied, and miserable? Here's a truth most people are too scared to face. Their misery isn't an accident, it's a choice. Yes, you heard me. Most people live and die miserable because they choose comfort over growth, fear over courage, and excuses over action. And you know what? That choice comes at a price. Today, I'm here to challenge everything you've ever believed about living a safe life. Because that safe life, that's exactly what's killing your dreams, your passion, and your purpose. So, stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the real reason people settle for mediocrity and how you can avoid falling into the same trap. It's time to wake up, break free, and start living a life worth remembering. Today, everywhere in the world, there are people who are just like you and me. They start out in life with big dreams, maybe even bigger than most. They think, I'll do something great one day. I'll make my mark, I'll leave something behind that matters. But somewhere along the way, that fire starts to dim. It's not all at once, it never is. But little by little, they let fear creep in. They start choosing safe options, the kind that keep them comfortable. They take the predictable job, stay in the relationship that doesn't fulfill them, keep the ideas that don't challenge them. And soon enough, those dreams, they fade into distant memories. One day, some of these people wake up and they're hit with a harsh realization. They've spent so much time playing it safe, they barely lived at all. They've spent years convincing themselves they're content, telling themselves it's just to get by. But deep down, they know the truth. They're miserable. They've spent their life avoiding risks, clinging to comfort, choosing the known over the possible. And now they're left with regret, wondering where all those dreams went and why they didn't chase them when they had the chance. This is a warning, because every single day, people choose comfort over courage, and it's those choices that pile up over the years until they're left with a life that feels empty. But here's the thing that doesn't have to be your story. Right now, you have the power to turn it all around. And it's that same principle that I'll reveal here today to show you how to turn your own setbacks into a life of meaning. Stick with me, because this is about to get real. Now let's get into why so many people end up in lives they never wanted and how you can avoid that same trap. These 3 principles are life-changing if you take them to heart. 1. Stop settling for just enough. The biggest trap most people fall into is accepting mediocrity. They convince themselves that just making it through the day, keeping things okay, is all they can hope for. But the truth is, every time you accept just enough, you're shrinking your potential. Think about a man who spent his whole life working a job he hated, convincing himself he'd retire with enough savings to finally be happy. He waits and he waits. But when the day comes, he realizes he's wasted decades settling. He traded his dreams for security, and it left him empty. If you don't start demanding more from yourself now, you'll end up just like him, looking back and wondering where all the years went. To embrace the unknown. Fear of the unknown keeps people stuck, living lives that feel safe but unfulfilled. True growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you step out to uncharted territory. Take the example of anyone who's ever taken a leap. Whether it's starting a business, moving to a new city, or pursuing a passion that others said was impossible. They didn't know if they'd succeed, but they stepped forward anyway. And what did they find? They discovered parts of themselves they didn't even know existed, strengths they wouldn't have found any other way. So if you want a life with no regrets, you've got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Embrace the unknown, because that's where your true self is waiting. 3. Take responsibility for your life. Too many people blame circumstances, their past, or other people for why they're not living the life they want. But here's the hard truth. Nobody else is responsible for your happiness or success. Only you decide what your life is going to be. Think of someone who broke free from every excuse, who rose above hardship and made something of themselves. They didn't wait for life to hand them opportunities, they created them. Taking responsibility isn't easy. It means facing your weaknesses, pushing past your fears, and deciding to do better. But if you want to avoid a life filled with regret, you have to own your choices. Because when you do, you're not just surviving, you're in control. These aren't just ideas, they're challenges. And when you take them seriously, you're deciding that a life of purpose and fulfillment is worth the struggle. So ask yourself, are you ready to go beyond just enough, to face the unknown, to own your life? Because that's the only way to live a life worth remembering. So ask yourself this: why are you holding back? What is it that keeps you from taking the leap, from pursuing the life you truly want? Is it fear? The fear of failure? Or maybe it's the fear of what others might think? But let's get real for a moment. Are you willing to let those fears steal your dreams? Because here's the truth: life doesn't wait. Every moment you hesitate is a moment lost. So, are you really willing to sacrifice a life of fulfillment for a life of comfort? And if you're thinking, this sounds easier said than done, well, you're absolutely right. Nobody said this would be easy. But here's what you have to understand: simplicity doesn't mean easy. The steps might be straightforward, but following through, that takes guts. It's about facing yourself, your doubts, and deciding that you're done living small. Are you ready to break free from those limits? Or are you going to stay right where you are, safe, but ultimately unfulfilled? Let me challenge you with something else. Think of someone you admire, someone who's achieved something incredible. What do you think separates them from you? Talent? Luck? No. It's the choices they made, the courage to go beyond comfort, to take ownership of their lives, to demand more from themselves. So, ask yourself, what's stopping me from doing the same? Because if they could break free from limitations, then so can you. And let's address something directly. Are you afraid of failing, or are you afraid of realizing how powerful you truly are? Sometimes it's not the fall we fear, but the responsibility that comes with success. Imagine a life where you gave it your all, where you stepped into your potential without holding back. How much could you accomplish? Who could you become? This isn't about just getting through life. This is about taking it back. So, what's it going to be? Another day week, another year of playing it safe? Or are you ready to finally wake up, shake off those excuses, and live the life you know you deserve? All right, it's time to turn this from words into action. Because nothing changes if you don't move. So here's what I want you to do right now, starting today. These steps aren't just ideas. They're the bridge between where you are and where you could be. Step 1, identify what's holding you back and face it head on. Grab a pen, a piece of paper, or even your phone, and write down that one thing you've been avoiding, the thing that's been sitting at the back of your mind, keeping you in place. Maybe it's a fear of failure, the comfort of a steady paycheck, or the worry of what others might think. Whatever it is, bring it out of hiding. Write it down. Because until you name it, you can't fight it. Facing it head on is the first step in taking back control. Step 2, free. Set a goal that scares you, but that's within reach. You don't have to flip your entire life upside down overnight. Start with one goal, one change that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's a project you've been thinking about, a conversation you've been avoiding, or an idea you've been putting off. It could be small, but it's something that moves you forward. And here's the rule: that it has to make you a little uncomfortable. That discomfort, that's growth knocking at your door. So take the step and commit to it. Don't just think about it, do it. Step 3, create a daily habit of reflection. Every evening, take 5 minutes to think about the choices you made that day. Did you choose courage, or did you choose comfort? Did you act in a way that pushes you toward the life you want, or did you let fear hold you back? Write down one thing you did well and one thing you can improve. This habit of self-reflection is a game changer. It keeps you accountable and reminds you of your power to shape your own life. And here's the final step: find someone to hold you accountable. Share your goal with someone who believes in you, someone who wants to see you succeed. Don't keep it to yourself. When you make a commitment to someone else, it becomes real. They'll check in with you, push you when you need it, and remind you of the promises you made to yourself. That accountability, it's the extra fuel that keeps you going even when things get tough. And remember this: these aren't just steps, they're actions that can shape your future. If you commit to these changes, if you stop letting fear call the shots, you're not just breaking free from mediocrity, you're stepping into the life you were meant to live. So don't wait for the perfect moment, don't wait for tomorrow. Start today. because the smallest step can start an avalanche. Make that commitment to yourself right now and watch how quickly things begin to change. So here's the bottom line: you weren't put here just to exist, to get through each day and call it a life. You're here to create, to overcome, to grow into the person you're capable of being. Every single day you have a choice to take the safe path or the bold one. You can stay comfortable, keep life predictable, and settle for just enough. Or you can push past that into a life where every day means something. A life you're proud of, a life that matters. Remember this: strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting up every single time you do. You're stronger than you know, more capable than you think. So take what you've heard here today and put it into action. Don't just watch, act. Right now, commit to that first step, that change you've been waiting to make. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt that fire, don't stop here. Hit subscribe, join this journey, because we're only just getting started. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's ready to break free from the ordinary. Because sometimes all it takes is one message, one push to change a life. So go out there, take that step, and remember, you have the power to live a life that's extraordinary.